Hey folks, my name is Matt Ramage, and today I've got a great episode featuring Gabe from Default Kings. And his company helps millennial entrepreneurs achieve permanent weight loss by changing their subconscious habits. So we talk about their marketing, where their company is going, and a lot more. So anyways, enjoy. All right, welcome to the show. My name is Matt, and this is Every Man's Hustle. And today we've got a special guest. His name is Gabe. Welcome to the show, Gabe.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, awesome to have you here. Gabe and I met on Twitter, and just a little backstory on Gabe. Gabe is co-owner of Default Kings, and it's a company that helps millennial entrepreneurs achieve permanent weight loss, about changing their subconscious with kind of the help of the subconscious. So definitely excited to hear all about that and the people you've helped. It seems like you've helped hundreds of people already. So just in the last few years, super exciting. So Gabe, why don't you give us a little background on yourself? Tell us, who were you before you started Default Kings?
Oh yeah, man, dude, that's a great question. I appreciate the kind introduction, first of all. But before starting our business, Default Kings, I was just your, average college freshman, right? I had gone through the normal path. I was in school because I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist. But right around that time where I was studying, my dad's health started to take a real decline. It had been on a decline my entire childhood, but this was kind of rock bottom, right? And that hit rock bottom, and it really just tugged on my heartstrings that, you know what? I want to help people with their health. That's what I feel like I am called to do. So I was very mission focused, very purpose driven from the beginning. And I realized that I was going to have the most leverage in helping people with their health by starting my own business so that I can influence them in an impactful way. So literally 19 years old, end of freshman year, myself and my best friend, who were, gym partners at the time, were like, we should start a business. And the very next day we show up to the study room in my community college and we have this blank business plan, and God knows what was written on that thing, but that's how we started our business. Okay. And 4 years later, we're at this point where we're doing over 100K a month, and we're on pace for well over $1 million a year this year.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited, man. So when you first started the business, was it Default Kings? Was that kind of the name from the very beginning, or did it start off with something else?
Yeah, it started off with something else. You probably still find us somewhere on the internet. We started off with a name that was called Vigor Gains. And It was kind of just probably a projection of our personalities at the time, right? We were younger and all about the gains was kind of the idea.
Oh, yeah.
But about 2 years ago, we started to focus way more on helping people address their subconscious habits, because we had done this thing for so long and we realized that was the main problem people faced, right? It wasn't about us writing out these perfect workout plans and perfect nutrition plans. Yes, we still do that, but we would hand people the perfect workout and nutrition plan and they'd still fall off the wagon. So we realized it was something much deeper. So we started to focus on people's default actions, their subconscious habits, right? The things they do in response to emotional triggers or cues that they find themselves doing, whether they're motivated to stop or not, whether they want to or not. So that's how we came up with the name Default Kings, is because we are helping people change their default actions, ultimately.
Oh, okay. That's where the default comes in. Got it. Got it. I love it. So walk me through the process of somebody signing up with you guys. Is it a monthly plan, or do they buy a product from you, or what's the end results?
Yeah. So when people sign up with us, they're opting into a 90-day system, right? So they sign up and our team immediately begins to put together all the custom assets that they're going to need to actually achieve the physical transformation, right? But on top of that, we deliver them the assets that teach them the psychological process of changing their default actions. So part of it is learning that process and applying that process so that they get to the end of day 90 and they can look at us and say, man to man, gentlemen, thank you guys so much for your help. I no longer struggle with overeating. I no longer struggle with hitting the snooze button. I no longer struggle with skipping the gym, right? On top of that, of course, they want to be at their physical goal. So average client is losing 10% plus of their body weight in body fat per week while they build muscle. But of course, that is more custom person to person.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
Okay, got it. I mean, I guess I'm still, sorry, forgive me, maybe it's been a long day already. But I'm curious, does some of it involve like live coaching or like weekly calls or that kind of thing? Or?
Yeah. So what they get is they will get essentially the video module course that teaches them the psychological process, and they're working through that the entire time.
Okay, got it.
They're applying it day to day. On top of that, we are going to be on daily group coaching calls with them, right? They have unlimited check-in calls with their own one-on-one specified client success specialist. So they can use those every day if they so choose. Most people don't use them every day though, because they don't have those to just have a new best friend. It's really so that there's nothing that can get in their way and they can use them whenever they need. And then of course they have 24/7 access to our entire team, myself, Jack Bly, our co-founder, Joey Oheim, our co-owner. And then they have our inner circle, which is their access to all the other men who are going through it right now. And at the time of this recording, there is 126 other guys in this group who are in similar shoes, who have similar goals, who have similar values and similar struggles. And so they're able to pop this thing up every day and see all the other guys crushing it, which motivates them subconsciously to keep on doing what they know they need to do.
Okay. Oh man, I love it. I'm inspired. I'm not a millennial though. Is it open to 48-year-olds?
It's actually interesting to see that because most of our clients are between 39 and 49.
Okay. Nice.
So I think a little bit older than that millennial generation, right? I may be like the youngest of the millennial generation. I may also be Gen Z. I don't really know. I'm 23, 1999. But most of our clients end up being between 39 and 49. Right. And it's funny that we've landed on that, but I think the reason is because the way that we've built this thing out is to address literally the issues that I saw my parents going through, my father specifically going through when he was around that age range. Right. Like those are the struggles that we have lived through. Those are the struggles that we know on a deep, intimate level. And those are the struggles that we can help address. Okay. So most of our clients end up being those guys who were, between 39 and 49, who are the fathers, who are the husbands, who have the busy jobs or the businesses, who want to be better for their families.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, it sounds like obviously community is a big part of it. Are you using like Facebook groups or some other platform to kind of?
So what we use is Slack.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Is that something you've used in your businesses or?
I have, yeah. I use Slack. I heard about Slack when it was, I don't know, a year or two old, probably 10 or so years ago at South by Southwest. I heard it from some speaker and I started using it and loved it. And this is, I think, they're kind of, I guess, new to that space, I think, somewhat. But yeah, I used it for multiple years. I was paying, and then I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I started using Discord, which was free and same features. So I jumped ship, but yeah, I mean, obviously it lacks some things, but Discord also has some cool things too. Yeah. So, but Discord, I like it because I could jump into a channel and I can maybe Slack has this now too, but it's like I can do like a voice chat with somebody, direct message. But anyways,
Slack has probably evolved quite a bit since 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So now you have all that communication stuff. I think the biggest advantage for us as a business is that there's a lot of ways to have automations integrated into Slack, right? So we have so many apps where, as soon as someone pays, they're getting onboarded, and there might be 10 steps that we'd have had to done manually, right? That would have obviously taken up time, that would take labor, that would just mean a slower client experience for each customer where they're paying. And then it's like, okay, I have to wait to get set up now. Now it's just, as soon as that payment goes through and they get that confirmation email, they're getting invited to Slack and they have access to everything instantly, like on that call. So it's like instant value. And we've seen that obviously makes customers a lot happier, right? Especially after they just make that purchasing decision, which is really important. And it also gets some better results because especially with something like fitness, especially with something like these subconscious habits, they really need to take action when they're emotionally invested. Right. So if there's this delay in time between them committing, I need to do this, and them actually being able to do it, then it's more this rocky start. Right.
Yes. Right. That makes complete sense. I mean, it's like, when I'm inspired to go to the gym, it's like, time is now, I better go. Yes. Might not be inspired in a half hour,
Exactly. That's exactly why we do it. Literally the first thing we do, right? It does take us 48 hours to put together all the custom stuff for them. Right. And they know that up front. But for the stuff that they start, the instructions are as soon as we get off this call, as soon as they buy, you're watching video 1 tonight, right?
Right.
You watch Netflix 20 minutes, an episode or 2 tonight, you're replacing that episode of Netflix with video 1 in this system so that they can capitalize on that emotional investment and have those emotions lead the next positive action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And how much, I guess, is the program, is it 90 days or is it 6 months or?
It's 90 days. Yeah.
And is there, in that 90 days, how much content are you kind of expecting them to consume?
So in terms of the material of the actual program, right? Like the basics that they need to know, the psychological process, we package that into 3 videos that they're going throughout their first 3 weeks. Each of those videos are 20 minutes long.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I was thinking when you said day 1, I was like, they get to watch the video. I was like, oh gosh, because I'm in a monthly community for entrepreneurs and marketers, and we have, there's just, Sunday we have a kind of a workshop, and there's that video, and then there's Wednesdays a master class. Anyway, it's just like it's a lot, and on top of your just normal day-to-day stuff. So I like that it's 3 videos.
Yeah, that's huge. It's so funny because like before, when we first started it, it was like 9 videos or something like that, I believe.
Okay.
9 or 10 videos, and we realized that it was just too much. Even though it's all valuable, the perceived value is higher when it's shorter, when it's easier to condense. So what we did was we cut the fluff and we literally just gave them the instructions, right? Now we have these coaching calls available for the further explanation, for the nuance, right? That they're able to just join at their own time and discretion, especially for the entrepreneurs on the team. They don't necessarily want a bunch of more meetings on their calendar all the time.
Right.
So now they learn what to do, and they can just hop on these group coaching calls or schedule calls with their client success manager to get the nuance, to get the detail, to get all the stuff that, was kind of deemed extra. So that's how we're able to cut it down to 3 videos, is just being super direct with here's what you do, period, no fluff.
Okay. Got it. Makes sense. Great. Yeah, I have so many different questions. I guess let's jump to marketing, since I'm a marketer and I'm always curious about how companies are marketing themselves. I imagine with your business, let me guess, I think you are probably doing Facebook and Instagram ads.
Close.
Okay.
Close. So we were doing Twitter ads for a while.
Oh, okay. Twitter. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's because our main platform right now is Twitter.
Is Twitter. Okay. That seems like, I guess, you know how it is with social media sites. Like I'm on Twitter and I'm seeing very kind of my kind of worlds. And so, your stuff doesn't really come into my feed that much, but for others that are following health or other, it makes sense. So Twitter ads.
Yeah.
Got
Twitter
it.
ads were the main avenue that we were running. We also, on top of Twitter ads, this might also be interesting to you, our main funnel on top of just Twitter ads was actually our DM funnel.
Oh, okay. Yes. That's kind of I guess in the 25 years I've been marketing, that's definitely like a newer, I'm starting to get marketed to once in a while through DMs, and and I've done it a bit myself. I haven't had that much success just because I haven't been consistent with it, but it makes sense, right? It's like, sometimes you'll, depending on the message and the timing, and so
it's been our main funnel. It's been really great. It still is our main funnel.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess like Facebook and Instagram is probably more competitive right now and more expensive probably than I would say than Twitter ads.
So to be honest, I don't really know.
Okay.
We haven't dove in deep too much into Instagram or Facebook. That's kind of actually one of our big plans for this year, is to expand onto those other platforms, both in terms of just building an audience on those other platforms on top of running ads on those other platforms.
Okay.
But Twitter ads themselves, from a marketing standpoint, I mean, we got them to convert it was ridiculously cheap for us.
Okay.
It was fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So what are your plans? What are the, so expand to other platforms, grow the brand. Where do you see yourself in 3 years or 5 years? Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, I mean, our game plan up to kind of around this point was really one channel, one offer, 1 million, right? Like that's what we wanted to get to. One channel, one offer, 1 million from the great Alex Hormozy, right? Yes.
And we did that. And so now our goal is to expand channels, and on top of that, expanding offers, right? So starting by expanding channels, taking our content, taking our movement, taking our brand, where we've built a massive audience on Twitter and a massive level of notoriety on Twitter, and taking that to YouTube, taking that to Instagram. So for anyone who's on Instagram and YouTube, you absolutely will seeing our faces flash past your timeline within the next year here, 100%. Okay. You won't be able to escape our faces. Okay. And so expanding to other platforms, and then on top of that, offering more services other than just our online program, right? So we want to do things like in-person retreats, in-person events, really these kind of, I guess, moments in time where people can come to whip themselves back into shape, so to speak. Right. Okay. But we're going to be doing a lot of that stuff in person and partnering with other people who we trust, other mentors of ours who have presence online. So that we're able to obviously connect with their audiences too, plus just provide that immense level of value with those in-person services.
Awesome. Have you guys considered like affiliate marketing at all?
Yes. So that is actually one of the big pieces in our 5-ish to 10-year plan, because 5-ish to 10-year plan, I mean, our ultimate mission on top of just building a business, we view our business as just one step in our mission. Our mission that we feel as men is to take the values that we've seen produce success in people's lives and disseminate those to the masses. We think more men need to know that they are capable of doing more. That's what we believe. Okay. So our plan here is to start with the families, right? It starts with the leaders of these families. That's why we are building Default Kings and trying to impact people in the way that we're doing that. That's why we need to build Default Kings to the moon, right? Once Default Kings is built to the moon, we've impacted the families. We're going to be licensing out some model, right? Where we're going to be having affiliates, so to speak, who align with our values, of course, and our mission, of course, who maybe don't have the same systems in place, business, marketing, and sales wise, who we can then help business, market, and sell. So that's where the affiliates are going to come in. And then from there, it's moving across industries and having affiliates across industries outside of just fitness coaching.
Okay. Got it. That makes sense. So there are, is it 2 or 3 partners?
2 partners.
2 partners. Okay.
Jack Fly and Joey Johan.
Okay. And then you are the CEO, or?
I'm our CSO.
CSO. Mm-hmm. Got it. And how did the founders meet?
Yeah. So, I mean, myself and Jack, we met in college.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
In that freshman year phase and, kind of doing what all college freshmen do. And we noticed that although we were being 18-year-olds, we still were the only ones of our friend group who'd wake up and hit the gym, 8 a.m. Okay. Right, regardless of what the night before held. So we started to connect on a really kind of a deep level because we were both very disciplined at a young age. And we were both very committed at a young age. And so we became best friends. And at that point, we both had a bigger vision. So like I said, I mean, it was after a session at the gym where we were just talking out by my truck and we were like, we can start a business. And that's how it started. Okay. And then Joey Johan, who's our third partner, we actually met him on Twitter. And so myself and Jack were kind of running the ship ourselves. And we connected with Joey and we worked with him for a while through kind of like an affiliate deal, right? Where we were helping him kind of prop up. And we realized that he was an A player, right? You know, in your experience in business, when you see those A players, right? Because they have a work ethic. They have a level of work ethic. They have a level of drive, a level of discipline that just is outmatched versus people who might even know more than them. Right. So we saw that in him. And, we thought that our missions were aligned, our values were aligned. We invited him on board and, he accepted the offer, of course. And it's been the 3 of us ever since. Okay. I love it.
Yeah. Finding those partners, employees, or, I have I guess it's funny because he works for me, but I consider him more as a partner, but we don't have kind of official things set up. But yeah, he's a rock star. And I've told him, like, once my company gets to a certain point, then he's definitely going to be a part owner in the business. So, yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, it's like, finding those people are just, you got to run with it,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. One of the best decisions we've ever made, definitely business wise. And also just in our lives, because we were able to obviously take on a partner, but he's also become, a best friend to us, which is what was that?
I'm sorry. Are you guys all in Florida or?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So he lived in Cleveland, Ohio, funny enough. And we were connected just through online. And once we decided that we wanted to bring him on as a partner, we just texted him one day. We were like, hey, we're flying out to Florida. We didn't give him any details. And he's like, okay, we bought the ticket and everything. He flew down here to Orlando. And we brought him to our place and we just basically seduced him into joining the company. And he was like, yes, I'm in. And so he moved down from Ohio to Orlando. So now we all live about 10 minutes away from each other.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. One question that I often ask people on the show is, what would you tell somebody that's either working at a full-time job and is considering starting their own business, or just curious about it, or maybe has something they really like but they're afraid to start that new business? What advice do you tell somebody who's considering jumping out on their own?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you're considering jumping out on your own, I think the biggest question that needs to be answered is, what is your why? Right? Because the reality is that this journey is tough, right? There's a lot of great things. There's a lot of freedom once you get to a certain point. There's obviously a lot of prosperity that comes with that at a certain point, but it is tough. It is scary. I haven't met an entrepreneur yet in my time in the game who didn't have it tough when they first started. I haven't met that guy yet. So I think that it requires a extremely deep level of understanding of why it's important to you, so that you can push through that phase, because it's going to suck. It's going to be hard. You're going to doubt with everything in your being that it's even possible to build out that dream. But your why has to be bigger than that. If your why is bigger than that, you will push through, right? If your why is bigger than that, you'll push through. If your why is smaller than that, if your why is just to make some money, it's not going to last.
Right.
So find your why. That's my advice to anybody who's considering making that leap.
Yeah, I love it. And that author, YouTube, or TED Talk, Simon Sinek, I believe, has a book on all about that. Mm-hmm. So we'll link to it in the show notes.
Awesome.
Who are some of your mentors? I mean, you seem like super motivated. Who are some of the people that you follow now, or maybe when you first got started, that kind of, kind of gave you the motivation to do this? Yeah.
I mean, mentors, man. I've had a lot of mentors. I'm glad that somewhat rubs off, because I try to point praise to them as much as I can. And anytime anybody asks me like, well, what's your secret, dude? I'm like, my mentors. Like, I just tell them it's because I learned from other people. I wouldn't be where I am today on my own if I didn't learn from other people. So I have a laundry list of mentors that I can go through, but most impactful mentors at this point in time are probably not names that you'll know outside of just Twitter, because I found most of them through Twitter. Okay, but if you're on Twitter, or if you're considering looking for mentors who are going to be able to build beliefs in you that are going to expand you as a person, as a man, which in turn allows you to expand your business, then look at Sean from Western Mastery on Twitter, Zach Homel, Andrew Strom, David Jacob, and Jeremy Newsom.
Okay.
There's a few more on there.
Okay.
If you look at my Twitter, you'll see a tweet every 2.5, 3 months or so that is just a thank you to my mentors, and I tag all of them there. And so if you're looking at anything that we're doing and you have ideas of doing something similar, go to that tweet, find those mentors, find which one you connect with, pay them whatever they're charging, and become a sponge and apply it, because that's what we did.
Yeah. I love that. And that's one of the things I love about Twitter is I feel like I can't do that on other platforms like I can on Twitter. So the connections you can make and people and it's like you can have these mentors that you might not ever meet in person, or at least in the start, in the beginning, but you can learn so much from them. Because I feel like people, I mean, obviously not all, but there are a lot of mentors that are sharing their information, and obviously they have, some have courses and different, kind of things, books or whatever they're kind of selling, but they're also very free with kind of their information. And like you said too, I think, if you're going to learn, and they do offer these courses and you really, resonate with their message, then spend the money. It's you're investing it in yourself. And so I know some people are like kind of put off by, high ticket items, but man, how much is if it's a couple $1,000s, and really you'll spend that at Starbucks over 3 months, but you're not questioning that, but you're going to question a, $1,000 course.
It's the most accurate thing. And it's that might actually be the biggest piece of advice that I give to beginning entrepreneurs, honestly, other than finding your why, is find a mentor. When we first started, we had a very clear why, right? Like we weren't stopping, but we had to grind our nose into the freaking grindstone for a year and a half before we made a single dollar in profit. A year and a half, right? And it's not because our expenses were crazy high. It's because we just didn't make money. We weren't making any money. Okay.
Right.
So we got to a point where we got a little bit older, a little bit more responsibility, right? You got to start taking things a bit more seriously. And we were sitting at my desk, banging away on the keyboard at God knows what, that wasn't making any money. And we were like, dude, we have to make money. We have to make money. Right? I remember the first mentor that we ever paid, we had about $1,000 in our business bank account. Okay. And I had about $500 in my own personal bank account. And this mentor was charging $2,000. Okay.
Right.
And we find this mentor, and initially, of course, I'm like, no way. Like, no, I don't have $2,000. But we decide, you know what? Let's push all the chips forward.
Yeah.
Every dollar I had personally and half of the business, which we were split half and half that way.
Right.
We paid that mentor every cent that we had. And it was the best decision we ever made, because that very month is when we started to make some money.
So what did that look like, if you don't mind going through it a little bit, as far as like, did you meet with that person for a day, or what did the coaching look like?
Yeah. So the coaching was pretty simple. It was a combination of him having his own masterclass material that we work through.
Okay.
Having access to him so that we can have conversations about the nuanced situations and having conversations with him.
Okay.
Right. A big portion of this comes down to literally just having the conversations with somebody who sees the world as it actually is, who can look at your business and be like, this is what you're doing wrong from an outside perspective, just because they've seen it 100 times over and they know how it plays out. They can basically, throw you that bone, so to speak, and teach you in a 10-minute conversation what would have taken you a year plus to figure out. So it's through those conversations that we literally like leaped forward in our business and skyrocketed our progress.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Well, Gabe, we're kind of coming up on our 30 minutes. I guess I'd love to have you on in like 6 months or a year and kind of check in with you and see how the progress is going. So we'll have to have you on another episode if you're available and up for it. But I guess in parting, maybe tell us, where people can find you and on Twitter and your website. We'll have the links below as well. And any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share.
Yeah, man, absolutely, dude. I appreciate having me on. It was awesome getting to connect with you here on your platform. Hopefully some of the things we discussed were of value to your audience. I love what you're doing, because you have the type of podcast that I wish I found when I was beginning my journey. That's awesome. But yeah, man, I mean, final words of wisdom for your audience would be find your why and find a mentor. All right, find your why and find a mentor. If I die tomorrow and you hear no other pieces of business advice from me, it's find your why and find your mentor, because that's what we did. And then, where people can find us, whether that's just to connect and network, or if you're looking for coaching so that you can lose body fat and get healthier for your family, then you can find me on Twitter at Gabe Pluguez on Twitter. And that's GABE PLUGU on Twitter.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome. And we'll have links again below. And once again, thank you so much, Gabe. It's been awesome. And I'm really excited for you guys and very impressed with where you're at right now in your journey. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, my friend. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks for listening or watching, folks. Hope you got some value from this. Stay tuned for more episodes. Please like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.